It's that time of year again. A new school year is starting up, and I bet you want your child to have the best experience possible. Am I right? If so, I have got 4 tips for you to help your child have an excellent school year. Stay tuned. Hi, my name is Diane. I'm a certified holistic life coach, and welcome to Conscious Creating Life Coaching. I'm so glad that you're here. Now, you might be wondering what a life coach is doing, talking about helping your child have a good year. But before I became a coach, I was a school teacher for 10 years. I taught 3rd and 4th grade. I taught language arts, math, science, and social studies, as well as raising my own 3 kids through school. So, as I like to say, I know this from both sides of the desk. And the 4 tips that I have for you today come from all of that experience. And these will absolutely help you support your child to have an excellent school year. Now, the first tip is to create systems for your child to be organized. And by systems, I mean, here's where your book bag goes when you come home from school. Here's where you sit to do your homework. Not like it's sometimes on the couch watching TV, sometimes it's in the car, sometimes at the kitchen table. No, there's one spot where you sit and do your homework. And I hope that part of your system is to give your kid a break when they come home from school before they do their homework. When I would do parent-teacher conferences, I would cringe when parents would say, I always make my child do their homework as soon as they get home. I was like, really? Like, have you not ever worked a long day at work and then come home, and do you want to continue working on that same project? Probably not, right? You want to go put on your fat pants and kick back for a minute and, catch your breath and relax. Then go back to it if you need to. In the same way, your child has worked really hard at school. School takes an insane amount of mental energy for your child to listen, to follow directions, to, get along well with their classmates, to transition from class to class. And when they get home, they need a break from that. Hopefully a break from screens, and spend some time outside playing with a pet or a friend or siblings or whatever before they go into their homework. And when that homework is done, a system of does it go right back in your backpack? Do you want to just check and make sure that it's done? And also for them to gather everything they will need for the next day. Sometimes that's going to be clothes or equipment for PE, an instrument for orchestra, or a special part of a school uniform or something. And you want them to gather that the night before to save those morning panics that nobody loves, where you're rifling through the laundry basket looking for a certain article of a uniform or something, or looking under beds for an instrument or whatever. Those panicky mornings where you're yelling at each other and they go off to school in that very agitated state. That's not good for them to begin their day in that way, getting yelled at by you, not having what they need. That's a lot of stress. If you have the system in place that everything is gathered the night before, that might sound like very rigid or boring or something, but trust me, I know from my experience that will help your child be confident that they have what they need. And when they are confident, they are going to be less nervous about school. They're going to be less anxious. They will know that they have what they need. And that's a huge benefit to them and a great way for you to help them have a great school year. Now, the second tip is actually about removing yourself from the equation between your child and school. So when I taught 4th grade, most parents did not do this, but it seemed like there were a few every year who would try to run interference between their child and me so that their child never got a consequence of anything at school, no matter what they decided. I would get emails that would say oh, please don't give Ryan a homework slip today. It's my fault he didn't turn in his homework. I was going through his backpack after he went to bed. just like, oh my goodness, there's so much wrong here. Like, why are you in their backpack after they go to bed? You should be sitting down and relaxing yourself, reading a book or something, not worrying about your kids' homework or whatever. And yes, they absolutely will get a homework slip because it's that child's responsibility to turn in their homework. Now, the consequence for that is just that they missed the recess that one day. Next day, new start, back at it again. Now, I know that that's uncomfortable for some parents, but I promise you that the way your child learns to make good choices is to have consequences from the choices that they make that are not great. And a good school and a good teacher will have appropriately sized consequences. I remember when I was in school, the consequences weren't so appropriate. I remember one teacher, she used to have a bell on her desk that she would ring when she wanted our attention. I remember her picking that up and chucking at a kid's head one day. I remember one poor boy that spent half the year sitting out in the hallway at his desk because he couldn't behave. Those days are gone, thankfully. And the consequences are like, oh, you missed 10 minutes of recess, or you have to eat your lunch in the cafeteria instead of getting to come to a special pizza party or something in the classroom. One day, one-off things, done and moving on. Those sorts of consequences are the ones that will help your child learn. Now, I know that when we think of sending your child to school, that they're going to learn about, language arts and reading and phonics and multiplication and geography and everything. And they do, for sure. They do. But much more important lessons are to learn to be responsible for themselves, to learn to listen, to do hard things, to persevere, to get along with all different kinds of kids, and to, even if you don't like people, to still be courteous and get along with them. Those are huge lessons. And you don't want to cheat your child out of that. So we want to create that environment where your child has their choice and the consequence, and then they learn. So the more you can take yourself out of that, then your child learns that school isn't something that they do to make mom and dad happy. It's something that they learn to feel good about on their own. Again, a huge lesson. Now, the third tip is to do a little less lecturing and a little more asking. This is particularly true, not so much for like kindergarten, first and second graders, but third, fourth, fifth, certainly into middle school. You want to dial down the lecturing and dial up the dialogue, the conversations. So let's say that child, poor guy that forgot his homework and had to miss recess that one day, comes home and you ask, how was school that day? It's like, oh, I missed recess because I didn't turn in my homework. Now, a lot of parents will immediately launch into the lecture. What do you mean you didn't turn your homework in? I asked you last night and you told me, blah, 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 blah. That is not helpful to your child. If there was already a consequence at school and they dealt with it, this is a great time for you to ask questions, to draw your child out and help them learn to think about things, to connect the dots and learn their lessons so that they can be wiser going into the future, the next time. So when your child says, oh, I didn't get recess because I didn't turn in my homework, you could say something like, oh, wow, honey, I'm sorry to hear that. What happened? Oh, I forgot to do it and I didn't turn it in. Oh, okay. Well, what did you learn through that? It's like, I learned to actually look at everything in my notebook the night before. Good lesson. Do you have a plan for tomorrow? Yeah, I do. I already finished my homework because I don't want to miss recess again. Great. That is a victory. Instead of being angry at your child for, having a consequence, you can celebrate them learning that lesson. And hopefully they will, don't expect them to be perfect, but to learn that lesson and, be more responsible moving forward. Now, the last point I have for you is to celebrate as much as you can about school, not just good grades. We all want to celebrate when our kid, aces a spelling test or gets their multiplication facts correct or something. That's awesome. But there's a lot of other things that can be celebrated when they go for a month without forgetting something, when they, maybe make some new friends at school, or actually eat the school lunch or eat the lunch that you send for them so that they've got energy through the day. I know how that goes as a teacher. If the kids skimp on lunch, they don't eat much, or they just eat junk food or something, the afternoons are not great. Their ability to focus, to listen, to learn is greatly compromised because they haven't eaten lunch. So, maybe that they are doing a better job about getting some protein, eating healthy lunch, all kinds of things to celebrate at school, and celebrate them all because it's so important to your child. And when they see you on their side, like supporting them, not doing it for them, not saving them from their own choices, but in their corner, supporting them and cheering them on, you will have done your best to help your child have an excellent year at school. So I hope that was helpful to you. If it is, please hit the like button. And if there's somebody you think would benefit from hearing this, please feel free to share the video with them. And if you're enjoying this content, please hit the subscribe button. It does so much to help the channel get out there to other people who can benefit from these messages. And if you're really enjoying this content, come join me on Patreon. We have a women's only group where we get into all kinds of juicy subjects, not just things like supporting your kid, but how to make peace with the inner critic in your mind, how to manage time, how to manage your stress. Our theme this month is creating health for women over 40. So many good topics there in Patreon. If that sounds good to you, come check it out there. And until next time, my friends, create your day consciously. Bye for now.